What have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East.
Yep.
They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face. They're not. It's what, like the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like, their clubhouse dynamic, I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Apparently, he's a pretty darn good defensive coordinator. The 49ers are decimated by injury. This guy's doing it again. Wade Phillips, Norv Turner, all these guys, there's a lot of great coordinators out there. I'm not so sure Mike McDaniel isn't a real good coordinator, a run game coordinator, a quarterback coach with the 49ers during some Super Bowl years. Maybe he's just not built to be a head coach.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows. I got my skewers. I got the fireplace. I'm going to sit back, kicking my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in a football state, you're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, you know, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Top of the hour power right here on the Early Line. It's the SportsGrid Network. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Ranier. We love it. We love having all this action. It's a fun time of year, early parts of November. So many things to yell, scream, and argue about and also laugh about, like the New York Jets and their fan base continue getting kicked when they're down, but presents are under the Christmas tree. The question is, Joe, in the future, are you going to open those presents and be happy? You're like, man, I didn't want another pair of socks at this point. That's what we do here on the Early Line. We open up presents that we don't want those presents to be socks, Joe. We don't want that.
We also, Donnie, for years, I haven't wanted it to be any more Jets gear because I'm tired of burning it when the season starts. But maybe, just maybe, I will not burn the Jets gifts that I get this holiday season. I'm just saying there is room for optimism now as a Jet fan.
And it could be help on the way for those New York Jets here. Here's the early lineup, and it deals right with Sauce Gardner. Like yesterday, we're saying to ourselves, Joe, right? Like, ooh, we're going to get some big trades. Could it be Myles Garrett? Does the Cleveland Browns say, okay, we'll trade him because there was rumors about that? Or is it going to be Trey Hendrickson of the Cincinnati Bengals, which I'm going to get to in just a few moments? Or is it going to be Max Crosby out there in Las Vegas saying, you know what, guys, it was fun being here, but this team stinks. They're going to trade me. Good luck, Raider fans, as I make my way to another destination. Never did I think that Sauce Gardner would be on the move. And sometimes, and it happened yesterday. Remember a couple years ago, like you didn't have to worry about, the blue check marks because they were who they were. You see Adam Schefter and a check mark come through, like, you know what? I can believe this and run with it. Then they said everybody can have check marks here, and you had to check to see who was actually giving the information. I saw Adam Schefter's tweet. I didn't believe it, Joe. I had to go to 2 different spots to make sure that information was correct because of how big this deal was. I didn't see this Sauce Gardner deal coming, but here we go. 2 first-round picks back to the Jets. Sauce Gardner goes to the Colts. Makes the Colts better, gives the Jets a future.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and the fire sale off and running, the rebuild has finally begun, and not, a little late in the ball game, but better late than never. And quite honestly, Donnie, keep an eye once the season is over. I would not be shocked if guys like, Breece Hall and Jermaine Johnson and a few other guys, this could continue well into the offseason, Donnie. They're just going to keep stockpiling guys from here on out, and I don't blame them. Why not? Get as many as you can, rebuild it your way under this administration, and let's see what happens.
Absolutely. It's an interesting time, certainly for the Jets at this point. But by the way, quick little pointer here on the Cincinnati Bengals. You are going nowhere this year Trey Hendrickson was a piece you could trade. And the fact that all we kept hearing yesterday by the deadline was, you know what the market price is like. The Eagles got a pretty good defensive end for a third-round pick. So you go, okay, Trey's probably a third, maybe a second that somebody might bite for. And the Bengals are like, yeah, we still want our one. Now you keep Trey Hendrickson. You know what the best part about this is? You miss the playoffs. You pay him out the rest of the way. Then he just walks next year. Like some organizations, like, you know, it's not as big as Ohtani on the Angels. Like, trade this guy. Rebuild your team. Nope. We'll keep him for a month where we're not going to make the playoffs and he's going to walk on us. Why do teams do this to themselves, Joe?
I have no idea. There were a few guys, right, Donnie? I mean, there's still some guys on Miami. Why is Jalen Waddle still a Miami Dolphin, right? Like, I mean, he's at the last year of his rookie deal. Why is Bradley Chubb still there? Like, there are some questions here with some teams like, and by the way, Buffalo, you couldn't go out and find a wide receiver? Like, you know, some of these teams, it's like, okay, and A.J. Brown's still an Eagle? Just saying.
Make some moves, people. But that's what yesterday the Raiders did. Just it wasn't Max Crosby. It was a wide receiver that's been unhappy with this team all the way through. And by the way, there were thoughts on Sunday that the Raiders were like, we don't even want you to play Jacoby Myers because we don't want you to get injured. We will move you. While he was moved to the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a very good fit because the Jaguars are banged up here. We don't know when Travis Hunter's coming back, but expectations are later in the season. And also Brian Thomas Jr., that injured shoulder here is an issue. They added an extra wide receiver. Good move for both parties. Raiders going nowhere. Get some compensation. Jaguars needed a wideout. They got a wideout.
Well, because the problem is, you're right. He's banged up here, Brian Thomas Jr. He's got questionable hands, and he's still their number one option at wide receiver. So you got to get something else going on there, and Jacoby Myers is a perfect fit there.
All right, moving on to Rashid Shaheed. I love this move. Again, the New Orleans Saints not going anywhere. Get some compensation and get a couple draft picks back. But Rashid Shaheed goes to Seattle. I love this move. I think it's a perfect fit. More expectations on offense to hit that deep ball. They just got solved there with Rashid Shaheed. Let's go.
Yeah, it's a heck of a wide receiver room now, right? I mean, guys, you want to talk about speed. Talk about a guy that can stretch the field, and you still got Cooper Kupp in the slot. You got tight ends that still haven't lived up to it yet. And you got Sam Darnold playing at the best level he's played his entire career. So, yes, they just became that much more dangerous right now in the NFC West.
You know who is a little bit more dangerous now at the quarterback position? Oh, Kyler Murray's coming back for Monday Night Football. No, he's not. The Dallas Cowboys got beat not by him, but by Jacoby Brissett. And you take a look at Jonathan Gannon saying, you know what? I got the pulse of this locker room. We're not making any changes right now. Jacoby Brissett will stay as their starting quarterback, which, again, Joe, I agree with. When he falters, you move on, you get back to who you think is going to be your franchise guy in Kyler Murray. But in the meantime, you can't make that change. He's playing too well, Joe.
Yeah, well, you can. We talked about it yesterday. They had a decision to make, right? Do you go back to Kyler Murray and risk losing the locker room with guys getting fed and this being the best that they've looked all year? Or do you bench him and then run the risk of Jacoby Brissett continuing to turn this franchise around? And then you still owe him $100 million and you just cut his trade value in half. So they obviously decided better to not lose the locker room in the short term than to worry about the $100 million you're going to have to pay Kyler Murray in the long term.
Yep, how about that? Also, some other teams not in the NFL. Talking about the Chicago Cubs here. Shota Imanaga, he is set to become a free agent now on the open market. How about that?
Yeah, I don't understand this here. It feels like I thought they would have made a bigger play to try to get him and keep him there, but now he's a free agent, and it's not like the Cubs starting rotation is something, some great shakes here, Donnie. I thought they would have made a play, but he'll look good in a Dodger uniform. We all know that.
How about this? Tom Brady claims his dog is a clone. Now, everybody has had pets, and I love pets. I have 2 dogs now, and they're unique here. But it would be kind of interesting because you're cloning the dog for the features that they have, but it's not the same dog personality that is. It's one of those things where I guess when you have so much money, you could do whatever you want, but I don't think I would ever clone my dog as much as I love my dog. It just would be too awkward and weird.
It serves me. never trust a dude who's never eaten a strawberry. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Honestly, like never, ever. I think he's a clone. Has that? I think he is all. I think he cloned him. He's the kind of dude that would clone his dog and himself here. And Tom Brady will live to be 3,000 years old. Get out of here with that. Ridiculous.
Incredible. How about Dana White, though? Now, he's probably not in hot water, but maybe the UFC as a whole would be, because the worst look you can have in professional sports when you have gamblers, and that's a big reason why a lot of people watch the UFC, is, some of the fights are fixed. And also understand this. Legalized sports gambling helps to eradicate those issues that come up. And it looks like there was one fight that came up that UFC is going to have to answer for, Joe.
Yeah, well, and then there's probably more. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And anytime that you have a situation where the majority of the people that make up your organization aren't making the kinds of money that the top, third are, Donnie, you're going to have opportunities for guys to be influenced here. It's not like they've been screaming for more money, these fighters that are now saying they've been approached by outside sources. This is the least shocking story, I think, of them all.
By the way, Dana does make a couple points there that you just saw that graphic pops up. He's like, so you're going to the press saying you were approached. You didn't come to us. You didn't go to leadership. You didn't go to law enforcement here to try to get this turned around, but you're approached, and now the FBI is involved in it. So he does have a right to do that. But as you pointed out as well, Joe, sometimes we take a look at the guys making hundreds of millions of dollars. Why would you throw it away for $50,000? Well, some of those low-level fighters that go, I'm probably going to fight maybe 1 or 2 fights in UFC, get knocked out, and somebody's telling me, hey, buddy, you get knocked out in the first round, I'll double your paycheck here for that fight. Some people might go to the dark side at that point, and that's what you're finding out. It is what it is, people. We'll certainly keep an eye on the UFC. More hot topics coming up next, NFL style.
What have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East. They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face. They're not. It's what, like the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like, their clubhouse dynamic, I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Apparently, he's a pretty darn good defensive coordinator. The 49ers are decimated by injury. This guy's doing it again. Wade Phillips, Norv Turner, all these guys, there's a lot of great coordinators out there. I'm not so sure Mike McDaniel isn't a real good coordinator, a run game coordinator, a quarterback coach with the 49ers during some Super Bowl years. Maybe he's just not built to be a head coach.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows. I got my skewers. I got the fireplace. I'm going to sit back, kicking my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in the football state, you're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor, because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's get right back into here on the Early Line NFL edition. Thursday Night Football, Joe, we get right back in it. Week 10 in the NFL, and it starts in the Mile High City. The Denver Broncos are heavy favorites over the Las Vegas Raiders. The line opened up, Joe, minus 9.5 points. Still sits at minus 9.5 at a lot of outlets, in a total of 42.5. The question is, Denver, do they need to have a continuous comeback victory, or can this be a clean start to finish victory where they win by double digits. We love that Denver Broncos defense. Las Vegas' defense, not so much here. I do think we get a Denver win. It's always tricky on Thursday Night Football. You're laying double digits on a short work week, but I just look at that Raiders defense, and I don't think it holds up as much. Love the fact Denver went on the road against one of the best defenses in the NFL. They weren't electric on offense, but did enough to win that football game. And I look at that Vegas Raiders offense, I don't see much success against the Denver Broncos. Tonight, I actually lean, Joe, under 42.5 in this football game. And also, you look at the Raiders around a team total of 17 or so. I don't know if they get there. I think that Denver defense sinks their teeth into the Las Vegas offense.
It's this number has grown to ridiculous levels here, Donnie, when you look at them. And now we're talking almost double digits. And I don't care how bad you think the Raiders are, and they are bad. This is a divisional game, and that means you have to think that this is such a well-oiled machine with the Denver Broncos on short rest that somehow they're just going to bulldoze their way. That we know better in the NFL, Donnie. That's not how it works here. And we know, especially teams on short rest, coming in off an overtime game, not great, but we also know that teams coming off an overtime game and then having to play on Thursday night, well, they're not exactly terrible in this spot. And I think a divisional rivalry, guys' backs are against the wall. I think the Raiders keep it close. And let's face it, that's what Denver has been doing all year. They have been winning these games in epically close fashion here. Again, they did it against Houston, who has no offense. To me, I think this is the Raiders will keep this game closer than people think. Ultimately, Denver will probably find a way to win it, but I'm not laying double digits with the Denver Broncos here. No way.
Yeah, hard to do that, too, and you also understand the mentality here with Sean Payton and his team. They do play a lot of close games. They're just looking to win and get out. But I'm not saying I'm going to advocate, hey, take the 10.5 points or lay the 9.5. It's just tough. It's one of those, and you're right, division game, double digits, maybe some other places you can place your money, like saying on prop bets. But you look at Brock Bowers, came back last week, a man on an absolute mission. Like, he's a one-man wrecking crew. Maybe he can make a difference tonight. And also, when you're looking at unders, so Donnie, why would you like the under if Bowers is back and he dominates? Understand this. The best friend of an under is an offense good enough to move the football just a little bit and then punts from midfield. You don't want that offense like, hey, I'm going to overpower you and go down the field, but also you don't want the 3 and outs. Like, well, there was 3 straight 3 and outs. Yeah, the clock moved 2 minutes here, so what does it really matter? So I'm interested in that under in this game. We'll see how that plays off. Let's get the Sunday NFL action, which includes a game overseas, Joe. Atlanta and Indianapolis. And before we get to the game itself, we start to know who the haves and the have-nots are now. Now, I'm not saying Atlanta is a have-not or a have at this point, right? But Indianapolis made a trade. They're going all in. The public sees that, and there's always going to be a reaction. But as a formality, Joe, some of these teams, like we'll talk about the Jets, and some of the teams that made the deals like the Indianapolis Colts, is there more of a tax on those teams that made the trade? Or also, should you just be turning a blind eye like the season is over for a team like the Jets? Or is there a thought that now you can find value because the public's all in on the haves and all out on the have-nots?
Yeah, well, the problem is we know the public, Donnie, when we've looked at the Colts, has been waiting for the wheels to fall off on Danny Dimes, and they finally got a chance to see that against Pittsburgh last week. Now they got to go overseas. By the way, both coaches have had experience taking teams across the pond, right? Danny Dimes, I think, played a couple of games, in fact, over in England and London when they were played there. So there's a lot of experience on these teams. And if I'm the Colts, I just got, a reason to celebrate. We just got one of the best shutdown cornerbacks in the NFL added to our defense here. There's a lot to be excited about for the Colts. And yet the market, Donnie, I mean, the Colts opened up a touchdown favorite. They're not a touchdown favorite anymore. It's under that key number of 7. So the market is not buying it. They think they're going to get a little more of what we just saw from Danny Dimes. And this is a desperate Atlanta team. Make no mistake about it. Yeah, I think this game has got field goal written all over it. So I would only look at the dog in this spot here.
Berlin, Germany getting this game. And by the way, I haven't checked, which I'm going to have to go today, Joe, and if anybody knows behind it. Are we playing on natural grass or are we playing on turf in this one? That's what I need to know for this game to make a good decision, because if we are playing on grass, that means everybody's going to slip around like an ice skating rink. But You got some players that can get after it here, particularly those two running backs in that game that might be able to have some success in this if they can put their foot in the ground and make a cut at this point. So that's what I'm looking at here in this one. But Atlanta and Indianapolis overseas. It's grass, as I was just told. So
yes,
good luck on that, which automatically just ruined my day here because I was saying, ooh, if that's turf, we might be able to get after it here. Let's get to the next game, Joe. We're talking about the haves and the have-nots. Both of these technically have-nots. That's the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets, and a favorite here. Not for the Jets anymore. It's to the Browns at 2.5 at most outlets. A total, Joe, of 37.5. We talked about this game in hour number one. Am I wrong for being totally intrigued on the New York Jets if I can get a +3 in this game?
Yeah, I'm it's hilarious, too, because the Browns, I think, have been the single team. They're 2-6 straight up. The Jets have one win, right? But the Jets have gotten more sharp support than the Browns have. The public loves the Browns. Make no mistake about it here. They love betting against the Browns, that is here. But I don't see that happening in this one, Donnie. And I'm kind of with you here. I think the Jets might have some sneaky value, but there is no way, if we're being honest here. Are we really betting an over in this game in any way, shape, or form on anything?
By the way, rain in the forecast, too, in the Meadowlands, so not even a nice day here with two of those offenses here getting after it. Good luck on that one. Quick one to put in here, Joe. New Orleans and Carolina, 5.5-point favorite. Woo, Carolina playing the role as a favorite, Joe, when they're usually double-digit dogs.
Listen, I said Carolina was going to be one of the most improved teams this year, and that's exactly what they are. And you know what? Yeah, they're going to win this game, and they'll win it probably rather easily against this New Orleans team.
How about that, boy? Rico Dowdle running wild and taking Chuba Hubbard's job here. The Carolina squad, Ted McMillan and the boys, can they pull out a victory? We'll find out. More Hot Topics, Cowshe edition next. Stay tuned.
What have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East. They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face. They're not. It's what, like the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like, their clubhouse dynamic, I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Apparently, he's a pretty darn good defensive coordinator. The 49ers are decimated by injury. This guy's doing it again. Wade Phillips, Norv Turner, all these guys, there's a lot of great coordinators out there. I'm not so sure Mike McDaniel isn't a real good coordinator, a run game coordinator, a quarterback coach with the 49ers during some Super Bowl years. Maybe he's just not built to be a head coach.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows. I got my skewers. I got the fireplace. I'm going to sit back, kicking my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in a football state. You're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, you know, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Cowshe Markets people, get excited for some questions coming your way and some interesting ways that you can wager on those questions. It's Donnie right side. It is Joe Ranieri. It's the Early Line right here on a hump day Wednesday morning on the SportsGrid Network. Now, you might say in the SEC it does mean more. Well, it means more to get a head coach and how much you're going to actually pay that said head coach. But first, You have to find that head coach, Joe, and you have to offer him the job. Kalshi's question today, who will be the next permanent head coach of the LSU football team? Leader in the clubhouse there, Nick Saban, followed by Lane Kiffin and John Sumrall. So Nick Saban going back to the Bayou where he was already there and won a national championship? Is Miss Terry okay with this? And would Miss Terry actually bet on this?
Yeah, no. Saban is not going back to. He couldn't wait to get out of LSU. And the more and more we hear, Donnie, about the politics involved in LSU. Yeah, Saban would want total and utter control and answers to nobody, and that is not necessarily the case there at LSU. And listen, Lane Kiffin can go wherever he wants, but Lane Kiffin is there. How big a step up is LSU versus where he's at Ole Miss right now? So, if I'm him, I'm holding out for whoever comes out with the biggest money, but I think Florida might be the best shot for him. I don't think LSU is.
By the way, you take a look at here, and I'm just going to drop down the more market segment here. Nick Saban is the favorite, Lane Kiffin, John Sumrall, Eli Drinkwitz, Jeff Brom, the usual suspects, as we like to say, that would be up for this job. But I got to tell you one thing. If we're just being honest, and again, looking at these markets differently than you would be betting a game on the weekend, I'm not paying that much juice on the return. But understand this, it's not a game of, what I think is going to happen on the football field. Hey, players get injured. The other team just plays better. You lose your bet. Those things happen on every Sunday and Saturday. But Nick Saban, if you bet no, Joe, and again, you have to use a different philosophy as opposed to the way you bet normal sports. Because if you bet $100 on Nick Saban no to be the head coach of LSU, it pays back $48 on that. So it's a 48% increase on your money. So I asked the people out there, every term Nick Saban is telling you no, and also understand this. Coaches, yes, they always want to coach, but Nick Saban left college football as the best coach in the history of the sport and getting paid a ton of money to sit on TV and work 1 or 2 days a week and fish at his lake and hang out and just be a legend wherever he goes. Why would he get back in the SEC, not at Alabama, and go to LSU, who he was with previously at LSU anyway? I'm telling you, not best bets and locks and stuff, but $100 wager on no for Nick Saban at LSU, I love that.
Yeah, I agree, Donnie, because to me, it's, again, you only pay juice if you lose here, people.
Yes.
And I don't think he's going anywhere in back into college football. It would have to be the complete keys to the franchise, and there would have to be some sort of agreement there. I just don't see it happening at this point. Plus, don't forget, Donnie, he left Alabama because he knew about this NIL situation and what college football, and he wanted nothing to do with negotiating for players. That's not who Nick Saban is. He left the game because he wants nothing to do with the current state of college football.
Correct. Again, using new terms, the way you look at wagers here is what we have done typically. Let's just say a FanDuel or a DraftKings. I'm not laying minus whatever 180 on a game. I don't like that to throw 2 touchdowns or not throw 2 touchdowns. But when you just look at simple questions and you just use your mind, hey, the sports landscape. Yes, Nick Saban could actually take the LSU job, but if I'm going to bet $100 and make a 44% increase on him just saying no to the job, and you don't have to wait, Joe, 8 months here to do this. Things will heat up soon. Hey, Drinkwitz is going to take that job. That market will pay out. That's an interesting one. And even though you're paying juice here, as we said, a 44% increase on your money by saying Nick Saban's not going to LSU seems like a pretty good bet. How about in the NBA? The number 1 overall pick in 2026. This is what I love about this, too. First guy listed, Darren Peterson. Never heard of him in my entire life. Cameron Boozer, yes. AJ Dybansta, absolutely. Nate Ament, nope. Could be Nate Clement, who used to play for the Philadelphia Bills. I have no idea. Chris Senok Jr., never heard of the guy here. So Darren Peterson, it could be a made-up name for me, Joe. Maybe it's not for you.
No, Darren, Kansas. Boozer is Duke. But, the kid and Ahmed is Tennessee here. And all of them, I told you yesterday, Donnie, this could turn out to be one of the greatest college freshman classes we have seen in a long time. We're talking about a lot of those guys going top 5, top 6 in the NBA draft. But I'm telling you, that kid, Pete, out of Arizona, what he did to Florida might have been the most eye-opening thing we've seen. He is Zion Williams all over again in college basketball. And that kid could very well be your number 1 pick when it's all said and done.
Good stuff all the way across the market landscape. We're going to come right back after this break and hit up the NFL again to get you all the information you need to know on a Hump Day Wednesday. What's going to take place this weekend in the NFL? Joe Ranieri and Donnie right side back right after this short break.
What have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East. Yep. They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face. They're not. It's what like the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like, their clubhouse dynamic, I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Apparently, he's a pretty darn good defensive coordinator. The 49ers are decimated by injury. This guy's doing it again. Wade Phillips, Norv Turner, all these guys, there's a lot of great coordinators out there. I'm not so sure Mike McDaniel isn't a real good coordinator, a run game coordinator, a quarterback coach with the 49ers during some Super Bowl years. Maybe he's just not built to be a head coach.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows. I got my skewers. I got the fireplace. I'm going to sit back, kicking my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in the football state. You're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, you know, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We got a good one here for this weekend. Taking a look at some of these look-ahead lines. Yes, it is a Wednesday, and you can have Thursday night football, but some of the weekend's games, those lines are moving. With some interesting matchups here, which we didn't really get, Joe, over the past 2 weeks, but I feel like we're getting some that, heck, Cleveland and the New York Jets would usually be a wipe-off game. I love this. New Orleans and Carolina. Carolina, 5.5-point favorite. Like, they're not sexy games that I'm interested. This one, though, just got a little bit more hype. Why? Last time we saw the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson came back. Not as fast as he usually is, but still throwing touchdowns at a crazy rate, through 4 of them against the Miami Dolphins. They won. They came off a mini bye. And then he said, well, oh, look at this. And I thought this as well. Detroit would just be serving up an absolute platter for the Minnesota Vikings and smash them. The Vikings were the better football team and took it to Detroit in Detroit with the first start back for J.J. McCarthy. Now these two teams, Joe, they're going to meet Sunday. Baltimore on the road as a favorite at 4.5 at FanDuel. Other outlets, 3.5s and 4s here. You take a look at the ticket count. Well over 60% of the ticket count coming in on the favored Ravens here, and a total of 47.5. What are we getting out of this game? So many question marks for me.
And it's interesting, too. Kevin O'Connell, right, the head coach of the Vikings, he has never faced Lamar Jackson before. Interesting. And usually when Lamar faces guys for the first time, head coaches, yeah, Lamar's 37-8 straight up. But you know what he is done? 24-21 against the number. It is no secret that the Ravens and Lamar Jackson have owned the NFC, Donnie. They have done a pretty good job. I think 16-2 straight up when they face NFC teams for the first time with a head coach. But I go back to the question here. I know the Ravens are going to get all the love because Lamar is back. It was nice to see him shake off the rust and beat the Dolphins defense, but he doesn't look 100% to me. He still looks like he's going to be hesitant when trying to run the ball with that hamstring, Donnie. And if that's the case, this Vikings defense is a different animal. On the road, they're going to be at home. I think this is a field goal game, probably looking towards the over one way or the other. But my goodness, there is no, I'll take the anything over a field goal. I'll take with the home dog here.
By the way, let's double back here in another game, too. New England and Tampa Bay. Drake May and Baker Mayfield. This is a really good game. Tampa Bay is coming off a bye, maybe the hottest team in football record-wise right now. Winning streak is the New England Patriots. The Patriots are not the favorite in this game. It is Tampa Bay, and a total of 48.5. It's one of those teams, Joe, I look at New England, similar to the Colts. You say, are they really this good? Can they continue to win this game? And they got their comeuppance talking about the Colts last week in Pittsburgh, as Pittsburgh was the better team, and that defense really showed up. But now we take a look at New England going on, taking on Baker Mayfield. Do we feel the same way about New England? Like, this is a bad spot for New England, and you should say that Tampa Bay should be the favorite. But as a referendum game, like, let's see them win another game against another team that's in the division lead, and then we can regrade them once the game is over. How do you take in this game between the Patriots and the Bucs?
Yeah, I think if you can get Tampa under a field goal, get it now, because I don't think you're going to be able to come Sunday before kickoff here. Listen, the Bucs is starting to shape up where they're going to get their starting right tackle back. They're going to get healthier on the offensive line. They won't have Godwin. They won't have Evans, but Ibuka will be playing in here. Cotton will be playing. The Bucs have had time now to heal up a little bit. Yeah, they should be the favorite at home. And I'm with you, Donnie. I don't like the spot for the Patriots, who, although they won at home against Atlanta, I was very not impressed at all with what happened there. They had every opportunity to lose that. And a guy like Baker Mayfield at home in Tampa going up against Todd Bowles in that defense against a rookie with Drake May. Yeah, no, I'm all about Tampa in this spot. But get it before it hits 3, Donnie, if you got 2.5s available.
We're going to flip to Monday Night Football here. The Philadelphia Eagles take on the Green Bay Packers. This game could go a long way to deciding who has home field advantage in the NFC playoffs. The Philadelphia Eagles coming to town here, getting healthier and making trades. And here's a video of Howie Roseman telling us, yeah, here's the deal with the Eagles.
Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett, who you were reportedly interested in trading for each of those guys. Michael Parsons, of course, before the season began.
Are you trying to get me fined by speaking of players on other teams? Is that your goal here, Jimmy? Well, I can see that being your goal.
The players aside, it does seem like you are willing to, make a big swing and trade multiple future first-round picks. Whether it's for those players or anyone else. What makes you comfortable, trading away those kinds of draft assets?
I feel like when there's opportunities to be aggressive for the right players, we're not going to sit on our hands. I don't think that you have great success without taking great risks at times. They got to make sense in terms of the risks that you're taking. And so, we can't be afraid to fail. I think for a lot of times, for you to get to the top, that you got to be willing to take chances that, may look controversial at times. And so, if there was an opportunity to do that, we thought gave us also an opportunity to be the last team standing, put confetti on our head, we're going to go aggressive in that direction. I feel like that's the right way to operate our team. And that doesn't come without mistakes. I understand that. But, I won't live with regret. I won't live with regret in the way that we operate around here. And so if we feel passionate about something, if we think the value's right, we're not going to be afraid to pull the trigger.
I like what I hear out of Howie Roseman, but he's right about this, Joe, because Howie Roseman is a really good general manager, but he has made mistakes in the past. Drafting Jalen Reagor over, Justin Jefferson. You take a look at Byron Maxwell deals that absolutely imploded on the Philadelphia Eagles. Nnamdi Asomugha back in the day, and also signing Carson Wentz to a major deal and having to eat a ton of money to get back out from under that, and then goes on to win Super Bowls. He's right about that. Without any risk, there's no reward, Joe.
No, there's not, Donnie. And again, you've got to be willing to make those kinds of moves if you truly believe that's getting. The time is now. It's such a what have you done for me lately league, right, Donnie, where you only get a couple of cracks at it. And if you truly believe you're one player or two players away right now from winning a championship, what are the choices? Donnie, I mean, what are you going to sit on your hands and play it? No, you're not going to be conservative. You're going to push your chips in, which, by the way, is exactly what the Colts did yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely here. And also, Monday Night Football. How about this? The month of November in Green Bay, Wisconsin. That game will be played, Joe, in the high 20s. Now, no precipitation in the forecast and light winds here, but a crispy night in Green Bay. Green Bay's the favorite at -2.5. The Philadelphia Eagles coming off a bye. Expected to get back Nolan Smith, got Jalen Phillips, and also a plethora of guys who should be rested and ready for this game. One of the best tight ends in football, Tucker Kraft, he's down for the season with an ACL injury. Haven't been happy with Green Bay's offense, but that defense is going to bring it. 44 as a total and 2.5 as the favorite towards the Packers. How about this game, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, coming off of one of the worst losses that we've seen in a very long time at home. And they were a touchdown favorite in that one there. And they are not the team that you expect to cover big numbers, Donnie. As a favorite of 3 or less, Green Bay, 3-0 against the number this year. Anything over a field goal, they're 0-5 against the number because they only play the second half, apparently, Donnie. They don't start games very quick. They've only scored 6, 7, and 6 points in the last 3 games in the first half against inferior competition here. And by the way, LaFleur this year, 0-2-1 straight up, 0-3 against the number after a loss here. I do not like what I'm seeing from this Green Bay team. I do think there is some value here with the Eagles. If nothing else, Donnie, the Eagles in a teaser spot, getting them up to that 7.5, 8 might be the way to go here.
How about this teaser spot, possibly? The Buffalo Bills. They were 8.5. Would have been a nice teaser, get it below 2.5, but that's no longer the case. They're favored by 9.5 now over the Miami Dolphins, 49.5 as a total. Last time we saw the Dolphins, they were at home, and they got blasted by the Baltimore Ravens. Last time we saw the Buffalo Bills, an unbelievably good performance against the Kansas City Chiefs. Public, no doubt, is going to rise high on Buffalo Bills. 8 out of every 10 tickets show. Are you backing the Bills here?
Oh, yeah. I just think now that they've lost Philip, they are not going to be able to stop the running game here of the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo might run for another, Cook might have another 200 yards in this game. I think it's going to be ugly, Donnie. Get it before it's double digits.
Getting it ugly there. Oh, boy. Tough scene down in South Beach. George Kurtz joins us next. Let's get some hockey talk going. Travers Zegras, people.
What have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East. They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face. They're not. It's what like the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like, their clubhouse dynamic, I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Apparently, he's a pretty darn good defensive coordinator. The 49ers are decimated by injury. This guy's doing it again. Wade Phillips, Norv Turner, all these guys, there's a lot of great coordinators out there. I'm not so sure Mike McDaniel isn't a real good coordinator, a run game coordinator, a quarterback coach with the 49ers during some Super Bowl years. Maybe he's just not built to be a head coach.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows. I got my skewers. I got the fireplace. I'm going to sit back, kicking my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in the football state. You're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's a Wednesday hump day right here on the Early Line, the Sports Grid Network. Rise and grind. It's exactly what we do. Donnie Wright along with Joe Ranieri. Now we bring in George Kurtz, who we love to talk to. He's probably so excited about Queen and Williams headed his Dallas Cowboys. They turned the tide. The Cowboys are back. George, how we feel today?
Are they back? I mean, it depends on how you look at it. They're not making the playoffs this year. Come on, this year is done. But listen, Williams is starting for 2 more years. So in that way, hey, you got what you gave up, first-round pick, second-round pick, I can see it. But for those who think, if Jerry Jones thinks this is going to turn around the Cowboys season, you're 3-5-1. Sure, maybe you beat Vegas in a couple of Monday nights from now. But then you got Philadelphia, Kansas City, and Detroit back to back to back. Yeah. That's 4-8-1, boys and girls. They ain't that much improved here. So we'll see what the future brings for the Cowboys. But this season is toast.
By the way, fun day yesterday in the NFL. And for years and years, the trade deadline was just dead on arrival at this point, George. What did you think, by the way, of the New York Jets saying, you know what? It ain't happening this year. We're going to move it to the future. And they got a treasure trove of deals for some pretty good players.
Yeah, you can see what the Jets want to do here, right? They're going for the quarterback next year. All right, and now they have all the capital in the world to do whatever they want here. If they don't have the top overall pick, which they may not have, I looked at the Jets' schedule. There are a couple of winnable games here. They play Miami, they play New Orleans, they play Cleveland. I'm not saying they will win those games. I'm saying they are winnable, even for the Jets. Those teams are terrible as well. So they may not end up with the number 1 pick here, but they'll have the capital to move up and get that quarterback that they want, Mendoza, whoever it might be there. So I kind of like what they did, but Donnie, did they do enough? Why'd you keep Breece Hall? What's the point of keeping him? Hey, if you could trade Sauce and you could trade Quinnen, Garrett Wilson, he might have gotten you a whole bunch as well here. So I do wonder if maybe they didn't do enough here. I understand you keep Garrett Wilson because, hey, whoever this new quarterback is, he has to throw to somebody, right? So maybe keep Wilson for that reason. But if I'm Garrett Wilson, I'm like, really? You kept me here? I'd want to be someplace else as well.
Plenty enough time before the draft to get rid of those two. And even Fireman Ed, I don't care. Get rid of them all. Get as many assets as you possibly can, George. It's not going to be a problem. Let's look at the ice here, Kurtz. And I got to ask you here, I'm watching this Utah Mammoth team. Are they for real here? They're taking on the Leafs tonight. They just beat Buffalo last night. The Leafs finally came back and won a game there against Pittsburgh on Monday. But what are we looking at tonight? Are you a believer in Utah here?
Not here. I am a believer in Utah as far as making the playoffs is concerned, but here, back-to-back nights, coming off a fresh team here, you're more than likely going to get the backup goalie there for Utah. Vejmelka started last night there. So I am on Toronto. I'm going to go on the goal line here. I'm not going to lay minus 154. I don't feel that good about it, but I do think Toronto could win this game. Now, Toronto, this is not the Toronto of old, all right, where they're great during the regular season, choke in the playoffs here like they've done here. They've struggled somewhat this season. I think they're 7-5-1. Solid start. Nothing to really panic about, but, it's the Maple Leafs, so we do panic about them. No Mitch Marner. Austin Matthews got up to a so-so start. Tavares been scoring here. Nylander's back, which is so important. Remember, Nylander was out a couple of games, came back to that game on Monday, had 3 points there. So I do like the Maple Leafs tonight. If this is all even, if Utah hadn't played last night, I probably wouldn't touch this game. But the fact that they did play last night, I'm going to take Toronto. Another thing you always pick on, by the way, teams that played the night before generally get off to a slow start here. So maybe you just want to take Toronto in the first period. If you don't believe in them for the entire game, it could take a period for Utah to find their legs.
Take a look at St. Louis and Washington tonight. That game is in Washington. Binnington versus Thompson looks like the two goalies in this one. Overnight, we actually had, Georgia, minus 170 or so price at FanDuel. That's dropped down to minus 156. Other outlets are below a minus 150 right now as a favorite towards the Capitals. What do you think it's tonight between the Blues and the Caps?
Yeah, I got 152 here that I went. Listen, I think the Caps are going to win, so that's where I would certainly lie here. St. Louis got off to a rough start this season. They do have injuries as well. Robert Thomas returned on Monday here. Jake Neighbors, he's not coming back anytime soon. Jordan Kyrou was on the back of a milk carton. He's not doing all that much there. So their offense is struggling somewhat. And by the way, Ovechkin is struggling, right? He's not really doing much in the early part of the season here, trying to get the goal number 900. That being said, I would expect a lower scoring game, but I do like the Caps here. Probably the under is 5.5. I mean, you are getting a good price of plus 110 to take it here. I would have preferred obviously a 6.5 there, but I don't think we're going to get a lot of goals in this game. So I think towards Washington and the under.
Talk to me. I can't even believe the Blackhawks are 500 somehow, but yet here we are taking on Vancouver, who's pretty much the same. But the Blackhawks, I believe, have not beaten Vancouver in, 2005, maybe it feels like. So what happens here tonight on the late slate in Vancouver? 2 500 teams. Did the Blackhawks get off the snide and finally beat the Canucks?
Well, I think that's why the number's so high, right? Because these two teams are, Vancouver's the better team, but not that much better. They're not 172 better. All right. So you're going to have to take the dog for that reason. You're going to get a good price here on Chicago plus 142, and they are playing well. But you're right. It's been a long time since they've beaten Vancouver. So there's the issue. Vancouver's not a great team. They're not. Demko's a good goalie, but he struggled of late as well here. This is a game where I'm sort of going the opposite here. All right, I do like Chicago, so I'll take I'll be my dog of the night, I guess. Although I don't love it. Now, I don't love it like I did the Anaheim Ducks last night, but I do like it. I want to go the over, and even if it was 6, I would probably prefer a 6.5. So maybe take the alt there. But at 5.5, they're giving you but minus 140, and I don't hate that because this game I'd be surprised if this is a lower scoring game. This smells like a 4-3 game, 5-4, somewhere around there. So the over is probably my favorite play in this game.
6.5 total laid for us, George. That's between the Kraken and the Sharks. You take a look also as a heavy favorite for the home ice team here, which is the Kraken at minus 172 to minus 175, depending where you're shopping. What are we seeing late night out on the West Coast tonight?
You're absolutely taking the over here. All right, the Sharks have no defense, but they can score a goal. Celebrini, you want to take an anytime goal? Go for it. Will Smith as well here. And no, not the Fresh Prince, and also not the Dodgers All-Star catcher there, but he's scoring goals as well here. Sharks can score goals. They don't defend all that well, and their goaltending is, well, it's terrible. All right, so you're going with the goals that be scored here. Seattle should score some goals. Hey, McCann could be back tonight as well, one of their better goal scorers. I like Seattle and the over in this game. You can always parlay this, by the way, if you don't want to lay the minus 172.
George, talk about a local guy who I think's on the verge of being a superstar from Bedford, New York. That's Trevor Zegras last night, taking control, knocking off the Canadians. The Flyers are back in business, George.
He said he was always a good player. Maybe had a little trouble putting it together now. Maybe he's a little happier there getting out of Anaheim with Philadelphia. I would think there's more pressure in Philly, by the way, than Anaheim, but he's playing very well right now. But he's always had the talent.
Let's go, Flyers. I think that's what you're trying to say to me, George, and I appreciate that. Thanks for rising and grinding with us on a Wednesday morning on the early line. We'll talk to you again. As for Donnie and Joe, we'll be right back.
Starts off on a positive note of getting Lamar Jackson back Thursday night, which was great. He threw for 200 yards, did not look rusty at all. He only rushed for 15, but he didn't really need that. Lamar Jackson also threw for 4 touchdowns, 2 of which going to Mark Andrews. So guess who's back and relative again at the tight end position now that Lamar's back? Oh, wait, it's Mark Andrews. No kidding. I mean, the guy just catches touchdowns. It's Lamar's favorite guy in the red zone.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Listen, never understood a word he said, but it doesn't matter because he was able to walk into living rooms and get kids to sign. It's a little different situation with the NIL now, but the reality is he represents Louisiana. He is Mr. Louisiana. What better? You should have never fired him to begin with in this spot. So, yeah, I hope they do reconsider and bring him back.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There's a far longer track record of the Chiefs laying huge numbers and not covering them with Mahomes than anything on the contrary.
And they did that a lot last year where they didn't cover those numbers, but a lot of the time last year they didn't have Rice and they weren't fully healthy, and now they are fully healthy. And now we have an offense that has 4 viable receivers, 2 tight ends, and 2 running backs.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
24 points, and 23 rebounds. Folks, let me tell you something. That's 23 rebounds versus Tennessee. Not Tennessee Tech, not Tennessee Chattanooga, not East Tennessee, West Tennessee, South Tennessee. I don't know how many Tennessees they got in that state. That's a university. He did it against Rick Barnes' kids.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Fun times as always on the early line. Final little segment here of a Wednesday hump day before we flip the page to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and even more fun. But before we get there, this is the part of the show we like to reach out to the public and see exactly what their thoughts are on a hot topic. I love this topic, and I know where the public should be. Here's our Fade the Public poll. At SportsGrid, people. You know where to find us? Yeah, right there on X. Give us a follow. We ask questions every morning, Monday through Friday, on our Fade the Public poll designed to be brought up right here on the early line. The question was simple today. Midway through the season, who is your Super Bowl 60 favorite? 4 choices we gave you. Chiefs, Bills, Eagles, and Lions. Only one choice should be voted on, and that's your, mine, and everybody's Philadelphia Eagles. That's America's team, plus 750. But currently live, only getting 29% of the votes. The favorite is the Buffalo Bills at a 7-1 price. Stop it. Eagles smash the Bills if they meet in Super Bowl 60. Joe, who did you vote for?
Yeah, no recency bias there at all, Donnie. But I am a big believer of your champions until somebody beats you. And right now, the Eagles are the champions. And yeah, their path to representing the NFC is not a difficult one. They'll have some spots if they can navigate through. Plus, they keep trading and getting, they're getting more and more of what they need to fill some of those holes. So, yeah, I went with the Eagles, but I would have loved to have taken the Seattle Seahawks at that price, Donnie, as well.
By the way, we take a look at the Chiefs. Like currently right now, it's 20% of the vote. Like, yeah, we like the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are 5-4. The Chiefs also have the Broncos, Colts, Cowboys, Texans, and Chargers on the docket coming up here. There's a legitimate chance, and I don't think it's going to happen, that they could miss the playoffs. They're basically a 500 team, but we just think about, Chiefs, they'll be there, they'll win, and they'll eventually get to the AFC Championship game, and that's what Patrick Mahomes does. But it's interesting that we don't give up on the Chiefs because they have Mahomes, but then your record really is what your record is, and they're 5-4 right now. And we'll see if they can pick up a victory once they take place against the Broncos. Yeah, that game is not obviously this week. Next week, they're on a bye week, and we'll see if they can get it together at that point. But fun little argument here. Eagles 29%, Bills 35%, Lions 15%, and the Chiefs at 20% here on our Fade the Public poll today. Now it's time to get down to business with a little bye. You got hockey. You got college basketball. You got a ton of things. College football, absolutely. You want NBA action? It's all here. So a full board to get a buy best bet pick in here for Joe Ranieri. Where are we going today?
Well, we'll go back to college football, even though I had to just absolutely want to throw up watching Miami of Ohio have, 8 shots from the 1-yard line to get us a touchdown and could only settle for 3 against Ohio U last night. But I'll go back to action tonight because we talked about this game in our spread lines yesterday as well, Donnie. Northern Illinois taking on Toledo. Toledo laying 14.5, 15.5 in some spots, and yet the total is 41.5 to 42. That seems a little odd. You're expecting a team like Toledo, who we mentioned yesterday, has lost outright 12 times as a favorite of 7 or more points and 18 times as an outright favorite since 2021. This is not a team that wins by these kinds of numbers. Very good defense for Northern Illinois. The offense isn't great, but that's why the total is low, Donnie. And, by the way, up to 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts expected here tonight. Not great. I'll take the team with a low total getting over 2 touchdowns with Northern Illinois.
The Huskies doing it the hard way. A little Jordan Lynch action tonight, getting 14.5 points. We'll see if that one plays out. For me, I'm heading back to the association. It worked out yesterday. Ooh, man, Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo, sign me up. Wrong. Sign me up for the team in the 6. That was the Toronto Raptors at -4.5. I'm going to do it again tonight, Joe, here. How about this? Oklahoma City, they never lose. They're getting 87% of the tickets right now. Take a look at this. I got it at 5.5 as we started the show. It's already dropping, Joe, to 4.5. Your boy's getting CLV already as we take the Trailblazers at home to knock off the mighty NBA champion, undefeated Oklahoma City Thunder. Trailblazers, get it done tonight and stay within the 5.5 margin, Joe. How we feeling about our doubleheader tonight from college football to the NBA?
I like it. I mean, listen, Thunder have swept the 4-game series the last 4 years. They're 16-0 against the Blazers, and they're undefeated this year. Something has got to give, Donnie.
Something's got to give. You know what it is? Time's up for the show here. 2 hours is all we get, people. That's the way we do it. Fill with as much information as we possibly can. We love to do that. It's Joe Ranieri. It's Donnie Rightside. And the best part about this, we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning once again for the early line. See you then.
No, I don't like the Jets.